We begin with this breaking news out of Beirut, Lebanon, where the Prime Minister is pointing to a warehouse full of ammonium nitrate as the likely cause of this huge explosion.
يا مشهرة يا الله يا مشهرة فجر شيء أكبر يا الله يا الله يا الله إن شاء الله ما حدا يصير له شيء. تعال فوت عماد بليز فوت. تعال فوت go inside go عماد فوت سكر لي إزاز بليز.
When 2,750 metric tons of ammonium nitrate detonated at the Beirut port, the Sursock Palace was right in the path of the explosion, as were several galleries, design boutiques and workshops. The palace's owner laments the destruction of years of toil and restoration work. The level of destruction from the explosion at the Beirut port is 10 times worse than that from 15 years of civil war.
So I grew up in my family house, which is in Ashafiyeh, so it's a very central location. There is the port, which is about 2 kilometers down. Ashafiyeh is on a hill, so you can see the water. But it's an old house, it's 150 years old. It was built by my great-grandfather, and my grandmother lived in it. So her mom lived in it, my grandmother, and then my dad. So it was kind of passed through generations. My grandmother was in the lower floor, I was on the top. It was nice because I got to really have a connection with my grandmother. I would go down for dinners, see her after school, visit her. So it was really nice just kind of having my grandmother downstairs, my parents upstairs, having my own space. I'm an only child. And having a garden, especially since our garden is also my dad's business because people rent the garden for weddings and events. I grew up surrounded by art and obviously architecture, interiors. There are the old paintings, the portraits of my grandfathers and stuff, but also my baby paintings, those the ones that my mom framed for no reason. So on August 4th, I was in my room, I was trying on my clothes and stuff, and then I hear just little pa like fireworks or something, but it didn't sound like fireworks. It would sound like someone was shooting or something. So I was like, what's that noise? And it was for about 2 minutes. So I look out from the window and there was an event going on, a wedding. They were still setting up, the caterers were downstairs with the food and everything, because my view from my room is where the caterers, where they set up everything. So I'm looking down and I see someone saying, doing this gesture, and that's when I was kind of alarmed. And then I walked out of my room just to see where my mom was, or ask her what the sounds were. So I was in the corridor where thankfully there was no glass, so there was no windows. It was marble, so the structure was stable. But I was walking there, and then when it happened, I remember the ground was it was kind of like an earthquake. For a split second, everything was silent before it went. And it was kind of like a hurricane, just wind that I can't even explain it, just coming through like this. And I just remember looking up and seeing the chandeliers go full 360. The carpets were flying in the air, so it was literally like a tornado. I thought it was a tornado. And I remember a column fell in front of me. We had a wood column, it fell. I literally didn't have anything, which is a miracle, just glass in my feet. That's it. And then I kind of went inside. I thought that there was going to be something more than that. And then at that second, you don't know who's alive, who's dead, who's... sorry. So then I went, and there was my mom that... Sorry. I don't know why. Okay. I normally don't get emotional. So I went to see where my mom was, and there was all like everything was on top of each other. I mean, the stairs, just to go down the stairs was quite frightening because it was like all glass and rubble, and like the whole ceiling was kind of collapsed. And I was scared that even the stairs were gonna like fall on us or something. So I couldn't carry my mom obviously downstairs, so I asked someone from the garden to come up. They carried her down. From one side she couldn't kind of like move, so we laid her down the grass. By that time there was like ambulances all over, just traffic jam like crazy. You couldn't go anywhere. We tried to go to the hospital. The hospital was obviously the one closest to us, was half of it was ruined, wrecked, so they were telling people to go to another hospital, Hotel Dieu. But we were like, there's no way we're gonna go there. Like, I mean, we're never gonna get there. And plus, maybe there's people that need it more because we are walking, and then the horrific, like, people with like just blood on their faces, and their expressions are like zero, like nothing in their eyes, you know. And people were just like, it was kind of like a movie, you know. Sorry. So then, wait, 1 second. It was just like miracles after that, because we're like, it's fine, like we'll go to the hospital tomorrow, because we thought that the explosion, weren't sure where it was, like where the base was. So the people were saying it was in the port. So I called my best friend Ziara, because she lives next to there, and she said that she was fine. Thankfully her mom took the phone and she talked to me, and I told her that my mom is like, she can breathe, she's good, everything. She told me that since Yara's dad is a doctor, that he would be waiting for us in the hospital to just check on my mom, see if nothing is like internal. Thank God we went there at night. It was kind of like at 8 p.m. So at that time, kind of people started calming down. There wasn't as much traffic. So we get to the hospital, he takes her, and then the next day, she said that she had punctured lungs, and if we had waited 24 hours, she would have died basically, because it was internal. There was no external bleeding or anything. So yeah, she stayed in the hospital for like 3 days, but her attitude was so good. She was like ready to get out of there, you know. My grandmother was in the mountains. They took her up. She didn't have anything. I think it was just the shock. She's 97, so she's quite old. Weeks later, so I think on the 31st of August, she passed away. It was very intense that month, because everything was scattered. We have a lot of our neighbors passed away, unfortunately, and then it really makes you realize what's important in life, like the material stuff, the house, like عمره ما يرجع, as we say in Arabic. I didn't really feel unsafe or uncomfortable because of the people that, my friends that were helping me like clean up, my parents that were there, you know. I mean, it was just like the same people, the same faces, but just different circumstances. The Lebanese are very resilient. The government did nothing after it, so it's kind of also a mix of like hate to the government and just like the people together helping, flooding the streets, just going up to people, asking them if they needed help with their apartment, if they needed them to like fix anything or to clean it from the glass, like just small stuff like that. I mean, Yara's dad helping us. Really, we owe everything to their family. I think that there's a lot of evil that knew about this. Whatever they tell the story, whatever they say, they blame it on whoever, they cover up, and then God will punish them. Yeah. We live in the house that's next to our house. Thankfully, we have like a kind of guest house. We fixed it, glass and everything. We took the furniture that wasn't destroyed, put it in there, and now we live there. So we've adapted well, and we're starting to restore and fix the house slowly. You just appreciate more what you have and appreciate like life in general. I'm lucky that, you know, I mean, everyone, it's really horrible for the people who passed away, because they had nothing to do with any of it, but it's like also survivor's guilt a bit, because It's like, why not? Why not me, you know?